Greetings, traveler. Often I get asked if the games industry is overcrowded right now. I suppose this question arises in many people's minds because in recent years we have seen layoffs from many big companies, and that leads people to think that, well, if these big companies with their infinite money cannot seem to have enough open positions for all the people who want to work in games, then perhaps this industry is a bit overcrowded, and perhaps there isn't as many opportunities right now to work in the games industry and channel your creativity and make all the beautiful games that you want. Today, what I want to do is dig a little bit deeper into this question and talk a little bit about its motivation and what it means for us. And then I want to give you my thoughts about the answer to this question. My name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 13 years now, and I think as far as I can remember back, this has always been the case. People always thought that the games industry is overcrowded, it's unsustainable, it's like the movie industry, you never know if you're going to have a hit or not. Games are hugely expensive, so investors don't want to get into that space. All that stuff, all these questions and all these skepticisms have been around for well over a decade. Is that true? Well, I don't know. I usually try to stay away from opinions and I try to look at the facts. So looking out today at the industry, it exists. People still get made. Games still get made. People still play them. Movies still get made. People still watch them. So it seems that the industries themselves are very much alive and very much continuing. That tells us that somebody needs to actually make all that content. So looking at all the big companies offering jobs at the moment, it seems that companies are still offering jobs. So why are people so interested in the question of whether the games industry is overcrowded? Well, let's assume that it is or it isn't. What would that mean? If the games industry is not overcrowded, then that means that there's space for people to jump in and start working there. So I suppose that's good. You get to make all the beautiful games that you want. If the games industry is overcrowded, then that means that there is less of a chance for someone to join it and to create the games that they want. But in either case, I think there is the common denominator that someone who ponders this question wants to work in the games industry, presumably because they want to make some games. And I think this is the assumption that is the most valuable here and that I want to use for the rest of this discussion, I suppose. So, is the games industry overcrowded? We talked about the yes and we talked about the no, and we see that under that, regardless of the yes or the no, there is a desire to make games. So you want to work there because you want to make games, and this desire doesn't go away. So if that is the case, does this part really matter? Does it matter to you if it's overcrowded or if it's not overcrowded? Well, let's take a look at how one could navigate the situation for both sides, I suppose. So let's say that the games industry is not overcrowded, or that it is overcrowded but there's still some opportunity. Well, if you want to work there as an employee, so join a big company, find a nice position there and start making your games there as an employee to that company, then there is some requirements that you have to look at. So the requirements for joining that position. So when you're looking at those requirements, this basically tells you what you need to do well to be hired for that position. So if you have ever employed anyone, you will know that it is very, very difficult to find a person that perfectly matches the requirements of any given position, unless it's for the most common positions out there, I suppose. So it's not really a question of how many people are applying for a given position. It's much more a question of how fit that person is for that position. And the more specific you are about what you want to be doing in the future, the better you can prepare your skills for any given position that closely matches what you want to do. So suddenly the question of overcrowding, yes or no, becomes irrelevant. So there's still open positions out there and you can still go after them. And the deciding factor is not the overcrowdedness of the market, it is someone's fit for that position. And trust me, if somebody has an open position out there, then their chief priority is to fill that position. Any open position in the games industry or any other industry for that matter means that that company has a problem that they want to solve. They wouldn't want to be wasting money for no reason. They don't want to be hiring people if they don't absolutely have to. So if a company out there goes through the trouble of putting up a job opening or an advertisement for a position, they have a burning problem and they need it solved. And if you're the person who perfectly can solve the problem, then that is all the reason they need to take a closer look at you and possibly offer you that position if you're a good fit. But let's look at this argument this question from a completely different point of view. And let's say that, you know what, it is overcrowded and it is completely impossible to get a job in any big company out there. And there's just no place out there where you could possibly do what it is you want to do. What options do you have? Well, there is the option of the freelance /indie. And I say indie in the lightest way possible because I'm not sure exactly what indie means nowadays. Is it independent of a publisher? Is it independent of a company? What exactly is it independent of? But putting that aside, let's assume that indie in this case means that you can go out and just by yourself go and create exactly the game that you want. Well, this sounds like a pretty difficult thing, right? Let's take a look. What can you do if you want to do this? Nowadays, there's game engines you can use completely for free, at least in the educational content. Very often in the full-on professional capacity as well, meaning that if you make a game in several existing game engines, you have full right to start selling it with no cost upfront to you as the creator. So that is definitely helping us. There is also tons of content on YouTube, on many other platforms, often in the websites of these games engines themselves, to help you get started and to show you basically all the knowledge you need to start developing. All you need is a computer that doesn't even need to be of a very high grade at this point. Anything that can run an operating system is good enough in our day and age. Yes, we live in an amazing world. I know, it's great. So with that, even if there is no companies out there that have any opening, or all the positions suck, or all the companies are making games that you might not be interested in working for, that's still great news, because you can still go out and make a game all on your own and make it exactly as you want. And here you might be thinking, well, isn't this hard? How can I sell this game, and how can I make sure that it's going to be successful? Well, that is an entirely different problem, but there is good news. One thing that will always work in your favor, and that basically you are born with without anybody having to give you any additional help in this case, is your social network. And this is not in the sense of your Twitter account, or that you have to do a lot of Facebook posts or anything like that. Not at all. It's in a very simple human sense. It is in the sense that, let's say there's a product out there and it needs to be advertised to reach people. If it's not advertised, nobody will ever know about it. nobody will ever buy it. You don't have that disadvantage. You don't need to try nearly as hard to make your product, especially in the beginning, or your game, reach anyone. You already have friends, you already have family, people you know, people you have contacted in the past, either in person or email, SNS, whatever is convenient for you. So because there's people out there who know you, that gives you a huge advantage in reaching out to them and telling them about your game, even if your game is not complete in its current state. So because it is your game and it's something you made and they know you, this gives them a huge incentive to at least hear what you have to say, whether it is, hey, try my game and give me some feedback, or hey, I made this game, do you want to buy it for you, for your kids, for your friends, whoever. It gives you this channel that other companies out there don't have. A huge company needs to make an extreme amount of sales just to stay afloat, and they don't know all the people you know. They have to rely solely on spending crazy amounts of marketing for putting their games out there. You don't even have to do that, and you don't need to put any money up front to develop your own game and to learn it. So just by doing that, it's not that you have to do it, but it gives you an alternative to the employee approach to this supposedly overcrowded or not market that you can use to channel your creativity and achieve all the beautiful results that you want and make all the awesome games that you imagine every day. So this is to say that in either situation, you don't have to worry about the games industry. You don't have to worry about how crowded it is. You can simply rely on the fact that people seem to still be enjoying video games and people seem to still be able to create them. And that's basically all you need to be confident in moving forward with whatever you want to create. And if there's some specific part of this process that you want to know more about, or you want to get much more tactical advice on how to achieve, please let me know in the comments below. I will be doing what I can to answer it and to be as specific as possible to outline the process. So that's it for today. I hope this is helpful. Don't think that because of some external factor you have to stop. Don't think that there's no opportunity out there, because there absolutely is. You can look at all the job postings out there. You can look at all the new companies starting out, even in this supposedly difficult environment. So if it's possible for other people, then it's definitely possible for you as well. This is the most important thing to keep in mind. Thank you so much for your time. And as always, have fun.